I just wanted to flag that today we're going to be hearing from Julia Caranci and Rebecca Grogan of the BC Wildfire Service. One is the information officer and the other is the fire information officer. Following that, we are going to hear from Chair Jack and then minions. If there are questions, we ask that you keep your questions until all speakers have had a chance to say what they're here to say. And we'd ask that in the interest of time, you keep it to one question and then one follow-up on the question. With that, I'll hand it over to Julia Caranci.
Hi there. First of all, thank you for inviting me to speak today. My name is Julia Caranci, and I'm a Fire Information Officer with the Coastal Fire Center of the BC Wildfire Service. We are responding to the Mount Underwood fire V7 1498. This fire was reported to us in the late afternoon yesterday, so Monday, August the 11th. Approximately 12 kilometers south of Port Alberni and 19 kilometers southwest of the Wesley Ridge wildfire. We responded quickly to this incident with initial attack crews, helicopters, air tankers, and additional firefighters later on in the evening, as well as night vision equipped helicopters and structural protection specialists who worked throughout the night. The China Creek Regional Park and Campground were evacuated last night. Structure protection work is ongoing for private campgrounds and mills and log sorting facilities and other structures in the vicinity of this wildfire. This wildfire last night and today has been displaying rank 4 and rank 5 fire behavior. This is a highly vigorous surface fire with torching or passive crown fire and some active crown fire. This is not usual fire behavior that we would normally see on Vancouver Island. Firstly, we are in the midst of a severe drought. We have had very little rain since the end of June. Also, last night, strong winds flowing up the Alberni Inlet pushed this fire aggressively uphill, and this has accounted for the high fire behavior we saw yesterday and are seeing into today. While we do expect some cooling and the potential for rain over the next several days, it would take a significant amount of rain and a significant shift in conditions to make an impact on this fire right now. Today, we are continuing to respond to this incident with 3 additional unit crews, along with helicopters and a heavy equipment task force, along with those structure protection personnel. A Type 1 incident management team has been deployed. They're on their way to the incident, and we are anticipating them to take over the incident likely on Thursday. Banfield has no power at this time, and the road between Port Alberni and Banfield has been closed, the Franklin River Road, and we do have traffic control in place. We are asking the public, other than residents of the area, to please stay away for their own safety and the safety of our responders. Just to sum up the current situation, we recently updated the size of this wildfire to 1,391 hectares in size. The status of the fire remains out of control at this time, and we have now designated this fire to be a wildfire of note. This is a dynamic and fluid situation. The fire behavior we are seeing on this fire is extreme, driven by strong winds, extremely dry conditions, and steep terrain. Responder and public safety remain our top priority. Along with that, the protection of critical infrastructure and structures. We do not expect the road closure to be short-term. It will very likely go on for days or possibly weeks. Even if the rain we are expecting does come, it is not likely to have an impact or a strong impact on the current behavior we are seeing right now. Just, this is a fluid, a dynamic, and a new situation. And yes, we are responding and we are doing everything we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So for the record, Julia's last name is spelled Caranci.
Correct.
Caranci, for everyone's benefit. Okay. My name is John Jack. I'm the Chief Counselor for the Hawaiian First Nations, as well as the Chairperson for the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District. My name is spelled Johnjack. So at the time of the fire, an EOC was set up last night quickly, and a reception center was arranged for anybody caught. That is now closed. We are currently in the process of monitoring the situation and working with local governments, First Nations, and the province of British Columbia on monitoring the situation. We'll share as much information as we have as time moves by, but it's important to note that the Banfield Road between the Alberni Valley and Banfield and the Hawaiian village of Anakwa in Pachina Bay, that road is closed in both directions. It's closed indefinitely, as has been stated already, and the power is out. So the power will likely be out for at least 72 hours, likely more. And therefore, people will have to take the steps they need to manage their own families and check in on their neighbors. So the impact isn't just restricted to the Banfield and Anakwa Pachina Bay area. It also impacts the Dididot First Nation outside of our general region. However, we are in constant contact with the Mountain Valley Regional District, as well as the Dididot First Nation beyond, to make sure that everyone is apprised of the situation. The reason why that's important is because the alternate route between Banfield and Pachina Bay to the Cowichan Valley and the South Island remains open, but we were asking people to stay away from the region and restrict their travel to essential travel only, because vital resources will be using that road primarily to get to our territory. And so we need to respect the necessity of keeping those lanes open and making sure that residents of the Banfield area, Pachina Bay Campground, as well as the village of Anakwa, they continue to travel using the route to the community Yubu and eventually the Cowichan Valley, and not to try to go around the fire. It's a fluid situation, and therefore we need to ensure that people are only traveling the routes that are approved, because it is a danger, especially with the fluid region. I think from our perspective, that is it. We will have more information as time goes by. We are working with local communities on making sure that the residents who are trapped on either side of the fire are taken care of. We'll have more information as comes to us. Please monitor the ACRD emergency program website and social media, and ensure that we are constantly only sharing verified information sources from media outlets that are doing the work. And so it's important that people share verified information. It's not enough to just share what you've heard. You need to share things that are verified, because we have to manage people's emotions to avoid panic, make sure we do what's right. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'm Shari Minions, Mayor for the City of Port Alberni. On behalf of the City of Port Alberni, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to all the people who are out there working extremely hard to try to bring this fire under control and to try to make an impact in extremely challenging conditions. I want to really recognize the difficulties of this fire in terms of the complexity of it, as mentioned today, the risk that comes with that for the firefighters who are on scene. I want to recognize the excellent work being done by BC Wildfire. I also know that there's volunteer fire services from around Vancouver Island offering to help, some of them coming to the site to see how they can support in a variety of ways. The City of Port Alberni and ACRD staff, as they always do, are doing a wonderful job in terms of opening up emergency operations center, reception centers, hosting last minute camping, whatever needs to be done. I'm always extremely proud as we work through emergency situations in the Alberni Valley, how this community pulls together, often led by staff, supported by many, many volunteers, and I think really shadowed by our community as well. I've often said Port Alberni is a community that knows how to come together in difficult times. And this situation is just like so many before, where we've seen our community jump in. Within minutes of me posting my first update on the fire yesterday, I had multiple people reach out to me and ask if the city or regional district need volunteers. If there's anything people can be doing to help. If there's, you know, a place they can drop off coffee, snacks, to volunteers, to staff, to express their gratitude to people working on wildfire and just looking to jump in however they can. I want to acknowledge the anxiety that comes with a fire like this. And, you know, I think we've been through a lot of difficult situations in this area, but none like this. I said to someone earlier today, you know, personally can't look out a window at my house without seeing the plumes of smoke. And I think many people are in that same situation. And I know that that comes with, you know, extreme discomfort. So again, I extend my gratitude to all the people who are working to help bring the fire under control in really challenging circumstances. And I just want to recognize the difficulty that my community in Port Alberni, the Alberni Valley, and many others are going through right now with the uncertainty. And lastly, I want to really just reference the difficulty that our neighbors in Annapolis and Banfield are going through with the road access being limited. You know, thankfully not cut off both of the additional routes, but with power being out, I couldn't imagine going through this situation, not only with the smoke visible and the fire as it is, but as well, knowing you're going to be without power for a bit of time. So we're really thinking of all of those rest of the people in those areas that are working through this and coming together in the way that they do as well. Lastly, I think I just want to say that, you know, while this is an extremely unsettling situation, we don't want people to panic. And in the Alberni Valley, we have absolutely no reason to panic. We always want people to be prepared. And I think that this fire is a really real reminder of the reasons why we need to be prepared. The Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District does a fantastic job of reminding us all throughout the year that we should have grab-and-go bags, that we should have Wind Alert downloaded on our phone, that we should know where to look for official information. And if the smoke outside is not a reminder of that, then you know, I don't know what to be. So encouraging everyone to be as prepared as you can, but reminding everyone that the city of Port Alberni and the Alberni Valley are not in imminent danger, and to make sure that we take care of each other and support each other, but go on with our lives and follow what's going on without too much. So thanks so much for everyone being here today.
Okay, I suppose it's time to take questions. So Daniel, do you want to call them out as they come? We'll start with folks in the room and yeah, go ahead. Oh, good morning.
That better? You say when. You just say when.
You can go up to the podium and just you have to hit the gray button that'll activate the microphone so we can all hear you.
Working? Okay, thank you. Eric Plummer, Hashilsa First Nations newspaper. The fire is currently 12 kilometers south of Port Alberni. How close does it have to get to the city for evacuation orders to be issued?
So for any wildfire, we would have trigger points that would be in place that would, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. So when we're responding to any wildfire that's in proximity to a community, we have triggers that are in place. And if those triggers are met, then we make recommendations for evacuation alerts and orders. And then it is up to the regional district to implement those evacuation alerts and orders. As for an exact kilometer marking, I can't really provide you with that, but just know that Obviously, we are looking at the situation on a constant basis. And if we feel the need arises to make that recommendation to the ACRD, then we will do that. We will continue communicating in real time, and everyone will be apprised of the recommendations if they become necessary.
Should people be prepared for a possible evacuation in the city?
We want people to always be prepared for a possible evacuation. You know, Port Alberni has been through a number of situations where we've had to do partial evacuations of the community. So absolutely, people should be prepared. We hope, and at this point, they expect, or although it's very early, that will not be coming to fruition. But people should always be prepared for a possible evacuation.
So just to be clear, in addition to the city of Port Alberni, the community of Cherry Creek and others could be affected if that's the case. They're currently not under threat, neither is the city of Port Alberni. But in the event that that occurs, the local governments will take the steps to declare an emergency and issue an evacuation order in that order. So we're prepared to do what it takes to make sure that not only do we make the right decisions with the right information, that we'll do so with good communication as well. So when, for clarification for Cherry Creek, the Cherry Creek electoral area is quite large. And so it's only impacting the part of Cherry Creek that is close to the Banfield Road. It is not affecting other areas within the Cherry Creek regional area.
Hi, Claire Palmer with CBC. Just wondering if any permanent residents have been affected by evacuation orders or if it's primarily campgrounds.
At this point, primarily, there are no current residents who have been impacted, although there have been long-term residents of the China Creek campground, but technically.
And would you guys be able to clarify how many and what kind of properties are affected by the order?
So the properties that are affected are primarily industrial, commercial, and recreational. I don't know that off the top. Go ahead.
There's approximately 50 properties that have received notices, and we've had the Marine Search and Rescue and the Search and Rescue work with the RCMP to issue those in person.
Any further questions in the room? No. Laura Broham.
Hi, yeah, I was wondering if you could say what direction, if there's one direction the fire's growing in, if it's all kind of growing in all directions, I guess.
So we are experiencing a bit of a wind shift today. So unfortunately, I don't have the exact wind direction to specify right now. But as I said earlier, the initial push that drove the fire was strong winds that came up the Alberni Inlet, was the information I have from yesterday.
Okay, and then just as a follow, you were mentioning that this is unusual fire for Vancouver Island. So I was wondering if you could speak to kind of some of the challenges of fighting a wildfire that grows this quickly. And yeah, some of the kind of factors and considerations you guys have to take into account for that.
So as I mentioned, what we're seeing is incredibly dry conditions, which normally we would not have for this extended a period of time. And that is combined with very steep terrain where this fire is, and strong winds, and how hot it is out. So when the temperature is rising and the relative humidity falls, and we have strong winds pushing on a new incident, we can see that explosive type of growth. Again, we don't normally see that on fires on Vancouver Island, but of course, if the conditions are there, we can see them, and that's what we were seeing last night and into today. So the challenges for us are always going to be the safety of our firefighters, our responders, and the safety of the public in the area. So that is going to be our top priority, and we will ensure that that remains our top priority. So ensuring the safety of our responders, ensuring the safety of any members of the public in the vicinity, and then structure protection after that. With challenges, we have been able to respond to the fire very quickly. We have been able to build up resources on the fire quickly. We are well resourced. We've been very fortunate to be able to use the overnight technology. So being able to drop buckets on the fire at night is a new technology that's being utilized in the Coastal Fire Center and actually on a number of Vancouver Island fires just this season for the first time. And that gives us an incredible advantage because we can mount 24-hour operations. So while we do have challenges with the conditions and the explosive growth we're seeing on this fire, we also have tools and resources to respond to it.
Looking online, just going to go from the top horizontally. Sitting on the news, do you have any questions? Not seeing any. I will move across to John DeRue.
Hey there, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I guess it's just a little more for Julia. Just obviously, this isn't your first fire season, Julia. How long have you been with the Coastal Fire Center? And I mean, is there a fire in memory that even comes close to anything like this? Can you just, I guess, maybe just describe just how unusual this is for Vancouver Island, if you could?
Hi, John. Yes, I've been with the Coastal Fire Center since 2019, so I guess that makes this my 7th fire season. While on the mainland in the Fraser Valley, which is part of the Coastal Fire Center, we do see larger fires and we do see this kind of fire behavior because it is generally drier in the interior and they have those drying winds. So while in some parts of the Coastal Fire Center, we see that on the island, we tend to have the moderating winds coming inshore from the ocean, which do tend to moderate fire behavior. So I would say yes, that in the 7 years I've worked for the Coastal Fire Center, I don't think I've seen a fire like this on Vancouver Island. Maybe others who have worked longer have seen this in the past, but again, what we're looking at is some very unprecedented dry conditions, winds, terrain, just coming together, unfortunately, in doing what they did with that fire starting last night.
All right, perfect. And then just for a follow-up, in terms of that forecast with the cooler temperatures and the rain, just how optimistic are you that that'll at least sort of help or put a dent on the fire behavior activity?
So we are expecting a shift in conditions, which obviously is going to be a very welcome change. And we are anticipating possibly some substantial rain on Friday, but we usually say in wildfire that we don't count the rain until it's in the gauges, number one. And number two, the amount of rain and shift in conditions that it would take to make a very substantial impact immediately on this fire, it's not very likely to do so. So we are going to be in this for the next while.
Turning to Marie Ziedler.
There, this is a question for John. Jack, we had you on our morning show for Victoria this morning, and you had hinted at the possibility that that secondary road from Bamfield to Cowichan Lake in the Cowichan Valley, that you were monitoring it, but there was a possibility of closure there as well. Is that still the case now?
Maurice, thank you for your question. As far as we know, at the moment, the road between Cowichan and the Bamfield area remains open. So the impacts, there could potentially be impacts, especially when it comes to the number of people traveling, as well as the smoke. But at this point, we don't expect there to be any short-term impacts.
Okay, thank you. And just a quick follow-up question. Sorry, I just want to be clear on the properties that are impacted. You said industrial, commercial, and recreational properties, and then your colleague there said 50 properties. Are those 50 properties the industrial, commercial, and recreational properties you mentioned, or are they residential or other types of properties?
So there are no residential properties in the area. No.
Okay, thank you.
Quarantine, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer, Mayor?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. On the coast, Vancouver?
I mean, so I'm not on the coast, but I think that's just like what we used to record it or something. I'm from the CBC, but yes, I don't think on the coast has any questions.
Okay, thank you. CTV, Mike. Not seeing any. Jessica Mack. Okay, Ben, I think I saw you unmute.
Yeah, just wanted to mention that Mike is one of our tech guys, so he's recording, but I'm on the call as the journalist. Just wondering if anyone from the Wildfire Service is able to discuss the type of terrain that crews are dealing with. Is this in an accessible area, or is it in steep, rugged terrain? What are they looking at?
Yes, so as with many wildfires that take place in the Coastal Fire Center, this incident is in steep and rugged terrain. Many of our incidents do end up being in terrain that's difficult to access. Again, we are in the very early stages of our response in terms of accessing flanks. And so more information will be coming when we begin to access the flanks and are able to start doing our work towards containment. We're still in the early stages right now. But yes, the fire is in steep terrain, and that is, as I mentioned earlier, part of the drive towards that extreme fire behavior, the winds combined with the heat and the steep terrain.
And then just as a follow-up, I may have missed this earlier, but are you able to talk about what type of personnel and equipment you have on the fire now, and if you anticipate more resources being brought on in the coming days?
So today, at last I checked, we had 3 additional unit crews responding. So unit crews are 22-person crews of firefighters, along with helicopters and a heavy equipment task force. And as I mentioned earlier, a type 1 incident management team. So that's a specialized team that focuses on incidents of this importance and magnitude. They are on their way now, and they will be taking over the command of this incident as of Thursday. And as resources are needed, we will continue to add resources. We will ensure this is well resourced.
I will turn to Steve Young, CFAX. He just left. Melinda Touchot.
Hi, do you have any resources that are already being moved from the Wesley Ridge to this one?
So in the very early stages of our response last night, we were able to utilize some firefighters from Wesley Ridge because this was such an emerging incident. However, Both fires are very well resourced, including Wesley Ridge, and we have as many resources as are required working on both of those incidents today.
Just a follow-up, could you compare, if it's possible, the behavior of those two fires?
So I can't really speak too much about the Wesley Ridge because I'm not the information officer on that fire. What I can tell you is the status of that fire is being held. So unlike this fire, which is out of control, the status of that is being held. And also we've been responding to Wesley Ridge for a number of days now. So a number of days in a row of suppression, of helicopter bucketing, of crews working. So obviously, we're seeing lower fire behavior on that as opposed to an incident that we've been responding to for less than 24 hours under these conditions.
Keith, I'm not sure if you're tech support or if you're here for a question.
That's Keith Bass, he's just recording it.
That's what I thought. Thank you, Laura. If we missed anyone, now's your opportunity. Oh, we have someone in the room.
I'm Susie Quinn with the Alberni Valley News, and this question is directed to BC Wildfire. With the Wesley Ridge fire, one of the challenges was sourcing water, and I wondered if you could talk about the challenges of sourcing water and where you're getting it for the Mount Underwood fire.
I'm sorry, I actually don't have that information, but we can make a note of your question. I'm happy to send you a response in an email later on today, if that's all right.
If there are any individuals that I missed, oh, yes, hand up for Akshay.
Yes, hi. John, I was wondering, you mentioned your advice to people, to stay out of the area, that road connecting Bamfield and the Cowichan, unless they had essential services. I'm just wondering, what are the powers of the regional district here? Is this something that you could potentially make an order on? I mean, it very well not be the case, but I'm just curious, would there be capacity for you to issue an order restricting it to essential services, or is that something that would be at a provincial level or higher?
So the situation with the Bamfield Road and the roads that connect our territories to the rest of Vancouver Island it's a complicated situation. Technically speaking, the road between Bamfield and the Port Alberni area, as well as the roads that connect our territories to the South Island, are industrial roads. And so as a result of that, this has to be managed across not only the governments, local governments, provincial government, various ministries, but also the stakeholders, which are, generally speaking, the operating forestry companies. So we're talking companies like Sawakin, which is a partnership between Wyatt and Western Forest Products, as well as Mosaic. So the conversation around that has to be, what are the solutions that we're going to undertake when it comes to the status of emergencies in vicinities of roads like this? This is a conversation that has to be had. We are managing the situation actively, and we have good cooperation and coordination across all participants at the moment. But this is a question that needs to be followed up on and answered from a provincial perspective moving into the future. This is absolutely evidence of the fact that the Alberni Valley and the West Coast needs alternate routes that are supported by the provincial government to make sure that our people are safe and have the logistical considerations to get supplies and access other parts of Vancouver Island. This is of the utmost importance, not only for our local communities, not only for individuals, but businesses, First Nations, and beyond. The West Coast is valuable. We deserve another route in and out of the Alberni Valley and the West Coast to make sure that we are safe. Here.
Okay, thank you so much. And just for Julia here, I'm wondering, you mentioned smoke in the area. Would that be, do you know how long that could last? Because I know your colleagues over on the Wesley Ridge fire were talking about the smoke there lasting for weeks and months. And I know this is very fresh, so you may not have the exact answer for me, but at least do you have a sort of smoke forecast for the immediate future at this point?
So again, we are still within the first 24 hours of our operations on this wildfire, and it has been displaying rank 4, rank 5 behavior. So while this initial phase is going on, we are very likely to see smoke and columns of smoke in the air and the surrounding community. So I believe for the most up-to-date information on air quality, the Ministry of Environment would be the best place that I could point you to. It's really hard to say how long we will be seeing the smoke. Again, we are expecting a possible positive change in conditions for us over the weekend. And again, that will depend on how much rain we receive. And then do we rebound back into a ridge again after that? For the very short term, until we start to see some significant rain, we are going to expect to see smoke from this wildfire. Yes.
And we have a question here on the border.
Hello, I'm Austin. I'm with the Alberni Valley News. Does the regional district or BC Wildfire have anyone on the ground where the power outages are, keeping those people up to date with what's happening?
Okay, I won't answer for the Wildfire Service, but standard practice for the regional district is to operate an emergency operations center and ensure that we activate and have assets everywhere. We do have emergency program volunteers in the Banfield community as well. The Wait First Nations has dedicated emergency coordination staff, and we have we're monitoring the situation actively as well. So the communities are acting in concert. We're committed to working together and helping and aiding one another, just as the Alberni Valley and the other nations around Berkeley Sound have been reaching out and making sure that we're safe. It's been an awesome experience working with all the people involved.
I don't think I have anything to add, except that we're going to continue to work in partnership with the regional district, and any assistance in any way that they need from us, we'll provide.
On that note, I think that concludes our media exchange. And for those who are watching, a reminder to download Voyant Alert. We issue all of our serious messages and alerts through the app, and also remind people to pay attention to our ACRD website to monitor what's going on there. And a third channel is on our ACRD Facebook. Thank you. And of course, the essential channels, BC Wildfire Service. Julia, if you want to speak to that.
Yes, I would just like to encourage for the most accurate, up-to-date information on this and other wildfires in the Coastal Fire Center, BC Wildfire Service website, and please download the BC Wildfire Service app to your smartphone. You can also report wildfires that way, and it also has all of the most up-to-date information on this and other fires within the center. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the session.